the first one was just around the reward system. And you kind of touch on it there, like finding moments for yourself and finding yourself and enjoying your life. And a lot of people in the modern day, particularly with social media, are consumed by work and time and effort and whatever it may be. But not everyone clicks their fingers and goes, hey, like, what do I actually love doing? Why don't I go take an hour or two out of my day and go do something that I love? Shoot hoops, play golf, go catch up with friends for coffee, go have a beer, like stuff like that. And that's something you do a whole podcast on this. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought that up because it is. I mean, we don't – I mean, I was at a period of time – this is at 04 where I was playing – that was, personally my greatest achievements that year. I was All-Australian, I was best and fairest. All that sort of stuff was in the stateside and so on and so forth. But I put a reward system in place for myself. And when I was a kid, my dad used to actually set little goals. If you play well this week, you get a chocolate bar. Or if you play really well, I can take you to Macca's. So there was always those little incentive sort of stuff, but it was all driven by him. And that was all well and good. And it made me focus on the end result and get excited for that. And that's what I teach my kids to this day. But during this period of time, I wanted to try and reward myself. And so it was a little story that these guys were, riding around the streets on those big long skateboards, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I could easily have gone down and purchased that, but I made the intuitive decision to say, right, if I play really good for these next 5 rounds, I'm going to go and actually buy that skateboard. So I went into the skate shop, I looked at the skateboard, had a feel for it. I could have bought it on the spot, but I said, right, I'm going to, it's almost like you manifest something. And I mean, Kevin Garnett said that when he's in Vale with the Celtics. He said, I manifested the fact that I wanted to have my number on the ceiling, right? And that's what it did for me. I went in there, had a look at it, went, right, I'm gonna get this on this Monday, but I've got to achieve a level of good to very good for the next 5 weeks. I ended up in those 5 weeks, 4 of those 5 games, self-performance was very good to excellent. So I never forget, it was such an adrenaline rush.
Wow.
We finished training on the Monday morning. I went straight to that skate shop, walked in, bought that skateboard. And because we lived quite close, I was living with David Neitz at the time. Oh, was it David Neitz? Might have been a friend of mine, but I lived very close to the shops. So I can't tell you I still get chills thinking about it now, just riding that skateboard. I know
that's unbelievable.
I didn't tell Neil. I didn't want Neil to know about riding a skateboard, but I'm not doing ollies or anything like that. I'm just cruising on it. But I went that Monday afternoon just cruising, and that was that self-fulfillment that I achieved something for me. No disrespect to my mum and dad, or no disrespect to anyone else giving me a reward. I achieved that, and this is that's what I said in the podcast: is that you've got to reward yourself, even if it's a small token of gesture to yourself. You've got to actually then pat yourself on the back end, and it just gives you a lift, and it gives you an extra motivation to get the next one, and then to get the next one. But it doesn't have to be a monetary sort of thing. It could be really, really small. It could be something very sentimental. And the other thing I say with that too, say you want to do, if you want to achieve something over a long period of time, say it's 8 weeks, don't change the reward. Leave the reward as it is, because when you look back, you go, well, at that point in time, that's what I wanted. And now I leave it at that because this is what I've been able to achieve. So, yeah, I find that very powerful. Something I still do this to this day.